Imagine this. You work the same job, you spend the same hours, you earn the same salary, but every year you feel something strange. You work more, but you can afford less. So let me ask you a strange question. If inflation makes everyone poorer, why do some people become richer during inflation? Today, together with the penguins, we will search for the answer to this question. On Penguin Island, prices had risen. Fish were more expensive, boats were more expensive, nets were more expensive, but something strange was happening. Some penguins were complaining, others were perfectly happy. Penguins started asking each other, "We are getting poorer, but how are some getting richer?" The Penguin Bank had created new seashells, but these shells did not reach every penguin at the same time. So who received them first? Big fishing companies, owners of large boats, those who could borrow shells, in other words, those who accessed money first. And here is the critical point. They could spend before prices went up. What did these penguins do? They bought more boats, they bought more nets, they caught more fish, all before fish became expensive. But ordinary penguins, when shells finally reached them, fish was already expensive, boats had already increased in price, so the same money no longer had the same power. Penguins realized something important. Inflation was not just rising prices. Inflation was this: who receives the money first? That's why penguins understood inflation is a transfer of money. On Penguin Island, money was flowing from savers, from wage workers, to borrowers, to asset owners. So, those who owned boats won, those who stored fish won, but those who only worked, they fell behind. Now here is a very important point. Penguins with debt were not afraid of inflation. Because their debt was created with old money, they repaid it with weaker money. So over time, the debt melted away. But what about penguins who saved? Their shells stayed in their pockets, and every year those shells bought less fish. Penguins were shocked. They realized inflation punishes hard work. Inflation rewards debt. That's why some penguins did everything right and still fell behind. The Penguin Council raised interest rates, but this time, small penguins could not borrow, small businesses closed. Young penguins struggled. But big penguins, they already had shells. They survived. So once again, the system protected the same penguins. Now penguins could see clearly. The winners were those who could borrow, those who owned assets, those who accessed money early. The losers were wage workers, savers, those who received money late. In the end, penguins learned this: inflation is not a mistake, it is not an accident, it is the result of a system. And that system pushes some forward and leaves others behind. So now I ask you, are you among those who receive money early, or do you always receive it late? In the next video, the penguins will ask, who is this system really designed for? And why some penguins become rich without taking risks, while others stay stuck no matter how hard they work. See you in Penguinomics.